everybody, it is Christine. It is time for a Scraplift Crafternoon. Let me show you our original. It's from Nicole, Cause We Love to Scrap. And she's got 3 photos kind of tucked into these little envelopes. It looks like a 49 in Market. I'm pretty certain that's what this is, this collection. But she's got 3 photos. Her title's kind of here. And then she's got some cluster here, kind of this diagonal thing, which you guys know is one of my faves. So, what I've pulled out, I have 3 photos. I did one photo the other day from the same location, but this is 3 photos of us at Garden of the Gods. I think I'll do it like this so that we have kind of a, oops, needs to go like this, right? And the reason I did that, by the way, for anybody that's not sure, is you kind of usually want your faces to kind of go, you want things to kind of look into your layout. So the way I had that a second ago was with her here and here, her face is looking this way and this way. Well, that doesn't make sense, right? So we want it this way and this way, so they're kind of coming here. And then I wanted to balance it because I have this photo and then 2 of us like this. So that's why I did it like that. That's how I'll do the photos. And then what I have here to make the envelopes, I don't have a collection. I know I have had, I don't know what I've done with it, that had the little envelopes. So I'm just going to make my own. I have this We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch board. These are 3x4. So I come here, you use this thing to find your card, a 3x4. So I'll need some 6x6 pieces of paper. And the collection I pulled out is a 49 in Market Wherever. Yes, Wherever. It's a travel collection. It just feels kind of right. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know what papers I'm going to use quite yet. There's actually a base and then 2 kind of colored papers. So I'll go through this. I'll pull these out. I'll pull out the rub-ons. I love these rub-ons, you guys. These are really pretty. So looking at I've already cut into that, so maybe I'll make my envelopes out of that. Well, I can't make them all. I don't think. We'll see. So looking at that's the back of that. That might work. I'm kind of making my way through this collection, you guys. That might be a little too brown, and I don't really like that too much. Let's see. That's a little too. So, this is really pretty, and this could work as the cluster down here. I may use this one and then come across with some torn papers here. I'll have to play with this just a second. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. Oops, I'm kicking stuff around here. So, this is kind of, that may not be right. And the nice thing about this, though, this original, is there's a top and a bottom, and you can technically make them little pieces. They don't have to be a full-on sheet. Maybe I'll go with this across the middle, and then, yeah. I'm going to have to look at this just a second, because I got to be a little bit smart, because I'm down to the last few pages here. This might be good across the top and bottom. It's a mountain, but it is travel, so we'll see. Okay, let me do this. Let me make my envelopes. I don't know. This is going to cut in just a little bit, so I'm not certain. Is this going to work? Because I don't know. Y'all, I'm sorry I'm being quiet, but sometimes when my brain is thinking, I can't make my mouth move. And sometimes my mouth moves and my brain is not thinking. All right, so if I do 6x6 per the things, this is kind of what I end up with. I'm not sure. So there's my 6x6 there. Let's call this my 6x6. I'm still a little bit off here. The thing is, I don't need a full envelope. I just need the bottom parts. So maybe I'll get lucky. We'll start with these and see what I get. We'll see what I get. Oh, there's a little blue piece here. Okay, let's do this. So there's that. I'm going to start this. So if I do 6x6, you score at 2 5/8. So the way this works is you go all the way around at 2 5/8. So what is that? 2 5/8. Wait, how does this work, you guys? Huh. How funny. I'm trying to remember this. It says the score guide. Oh, this is how. No. Oh my gosh, you guys. Am I going to pull YouTube up and remind myself? It has been a long, long time since I used this. I don't know why. If you do 2 5/8, I feel like you have to come along here, right? But then why is this here? I'm so confused. Give me just a second. I got to figure this out and I'll show you guys. Okay, you guys. I feel like a moron. I had to think about this just a minute. So you do put your 2 5/8 right there, and then you punch your little thing. Doop, and then you take your score deal here, and you're going to... Oops. I can't... this is thick paper. Thick paper. You kind of go along till it's scored, okay? Then you come along, and this is where the guide comes into play. I was like, what in the world did I use this for? I couldn't remember. So then we come here. So, but the interesting thing is the second one you do, it's not at the 2 5/8, right? Which is okay. We're going to do that. Score again. This is not intended to be a We Are Memory Keepers tutorial, but you know what? Sometimes we do things, and hey, I'll show you how to do it. All right, and then I come along here. Now this is actually back to the 2 5/8. We will go ahead and score here. I'm hopeful this is going to work out. This is the one I've kind of got the stuff going on. And then we have this. We'll see. And then we'll, oops, I should have probably scored along here. Okay, now the good news is, let me think just a second on my original. Let me look about my original here. Okay, so she's kind of got the bottom halves with this kind of cut. Oops, let's go this way. It's like this kind of. It's not exactly the same because this would come from here. Maybe I'll come in from here and cut this, because it's not exactly the same. I need to think about this, you guys. Give me just a second here. I'm going to go off camera and think on it, because what I need to end up with, let me show you why I'm having trouble here. So I need to have my envelope with this little opening here is what I need. And I have this, which is a card envelope, so I don't need this, right? So I need to come over here. But now I have this issue here. I mean, I could theoretically just put an embellishment. Actually, my photo, hold on just a minute. Maybe I don't have an issue at all. No, that's not going to work, you guys. I need to come down. Okay, let me think on this. I'll be back. Oh my gosh, you guys. Another quick check-in. Okay, and I say quick. We'll see what happens here when I talk. So I ended up cutting, so I had originally cut these to where I had the 3x4, which was a 6x6 piece of paper, which would make sense if you're putting this in here as a card. And then I thought, okay, that's probably too big. So I went down to where it was a 3x3, where it's 2 5/8. And so that's what I did here. I cut this one. And then ends up making score lines and stuff in a different spot. So I almost kind of boogered it up, if I'm honest. But then I thought, you know what, I'll cut off the extras. And so I've cut off these extras. And what I mean by that is, like, these were, well, now I've done did this. Basically, these extras were kind of, you know, on these sides here. I don't think I did that right, but anyway, the point is I cut the extras off, so I've got the 2 score lines. So it actually works out in some sense correctly, because now I'm going to have 2 score lines for these other 2 that I'm fixing to do. And then I used the leftover of one of the extras that was here or whatever, and cut a triangle here. I don't know how to, I don't know why. I guess theirs just has a triangle that's open, and so I cut that there, and that's going to work. So now I'm going to be able to kind of tuck it in there like this. Okay, so I'm going to go back and do these. So I'm going to cut these down. So again, 3x3 says I have to cut it to 5 1/4 and 5 1/4. So now I've got it like this. I'll just show you. So 5 1/4 and 5 1/4. So now I have to come in here, and now I'm just going to cut it. And you go, oh, and I kind of did too, honestly. I was like, oh my God. So 5 1/4, 5 1/4. So I kind of have this strange little shape here. And I thought, well, we'll just see what happens. I mean, worst case, I can go get a piece of stash paper. It's not a big deal. But then I have to come in 2 5/8. So 2 5/8. Is that right? Yes, 2 5/8. Now I'm punching my hole here, and I'm going to bring my score line here. And then I bring it along, put my guide, punch it here. No, that's not right, you guys. I just screwed that up. No, that's right. No, it's close enough. But then why did I not end up with another line? I'm a little concerned about that. You guys, did I just mess that up? What have I got going on here? 2 5/8. Did my line. Did my line. That. Did my line. That. But I'm still in the same spot. You guys, I just did this with that other one. How come I don't have 2 things? Is this... You guys, I literally just did this. Like, what the heck? I literally just did this. You know what? It's okay. It's okay, because you know what I'm going to do? I'll just do this. Not a problem. You know us scrappers, we got to be a little creative and problem solving-y. How I managed to do this is beyond me. I just literally did this. I'm clearly having a brain melt. I'm just going to show you guys how to fix something you booger up. I think my most recent videos, I've been calling myself a hot mess, and some of you are in agreement. Oh my goodness, you guys. Y'all do not come to my videos to watch for professional scrapper. I mean, okay, yeah, I do it all the time, and I've been doing it for 25 years. That does not mean I don't booger this up, because I do. All right, so we're going to do this. We're just going to use our scissors. I'm actually going to scuff the edges of these too, so I'm not terribly worried about perfectly straight edges and things like that. So we are not going to worry about that. And then I have this here and this here. And guess what? I now have another little envelope. No problem, right? Woohoo! Okay, so now I need to do the next one, and I'm just going to do the same basic thing. I'm going to try my process again. I don't know what I did. Maybe I did it wrong. It's okay. Either way, I end up with an envelope, right? So I'll do that, and then we'll be back on. Well, believe it or not, my third attempt, I've had the same success as the first one in the sense of, like, the scoring and all that. So I have no idea what I did in the second one. So I got my 3 little envelope things done. And I say done, I will actually tweak them in just a minute. I did notice that she had scuffed the edges of her photos, so I went ahead and did that. They are printed on my own little printer here. They're digital, obviously, so scuffing them is not a big deal. I need to take my border strip off. So this is my base page. I mean, I'll fully acknowledge that my base page is a little busier than her base page. But, you know, it's okay. It turns out really pretty, actually. I'm kind of happy with it. I did end up covering up kind of a lot of the little circle-y bit thing there, the little compass-looking thing or whatever, and I'm kind of sad about that. But overall, I like the layout. So I've got my little stamp paper. This is what I decided to use as like the base piece, which was, I think, the yellow piece on hers. I'm going to trim it at 7.5 so I can tear the bottom. So she had torn the bottom and then just kind of scuffed the top, it looked like. And then the second layer, I'm going to end up using the tickets. It looked to me like she'd also used tickets, but the blue ones. So I guess it's the paper I'm using right now, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if she used the same collection. I can't swear on it, although some of the papers look kind of familiar. I did have to trim the little envelope lips, not lips, the little envelope wings, maybe, I guess is what you want to call them. Each of the little pieces, it was just a tad wide, and then when I was trying to put the envelopes on the paper, I'm like, oh dear, I'm going to run out of room. So I do trim those down, the top, the sides and the bottoms, to let those fit just a little bit better. So that takes me just a second, and then I'll have to rescuff those edges. But it works out pretty good. I actually end up taking up quite a bit of space. And I get my photos tucked in there. I initially thought I was going to mat them, and then I looked at hers again and went, no, she just scuffed them. So I don't mat the photos. The scuffing kind of is the matting. In just a second, I'm going to glue the envelopes to the photos before I glue it to the paper, because I wanted to use well, I guess I could have done either. I don't know why. I think I just found it easier to put the glue on the back side of the envelope, but I'll end up using a T-square to line my envelopes up. So I'm going to let you kind of watch this for a second. I'll just kind of natter about this Garden of the Gods. So Garden of the Gods, I got to tell y'all a funny story. This is the funny story. My daughter was getting married in Grand Lake, which is a little tourist town. I don't know. Don't ask. I don't know much about Colorado. I don't know what mountain it's on. I don't know, but it's Grand Lake. You can look it up. So she was getting married there when she sent out all of her invites and saved the dates and everything. That is the address that was on there. She had initially contemplated getting married at Garden of the Gods. The challenge there is it's not wheelchair friendly, and both of my parents, have mobility issues. So she wanted to make sure that it was wheelchair friendly, or at least, mobility friendly. So she decided against Garden of Gods, even though that was kind of on her initial thoughts. So, and I think she chatted with friends, about it or whatever at some point. Now, here's where I'm thinking or whatever. But the final thing was this Grand Lake, and that was on all the invites and all the little digital things and on everything she sent out. The Garden of Gods was just a topic of conversation, honestly, at one point. Well, one of the bridesmaids' husbands, who was also a groomsman, got a little bit confused. And they made their reservations and everything at Garden of the Gods, which is 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours. I think it's 3 hours away from where the wedding actually is. And I think it was Friday. It was Friday. It was the day before the wedding. The gentleman calls, and we're in the car, and he calls the Seth, and he says, hey, where are you guys at? And so he goes, where are y'all staying? And so Seth drops him the pin of where they're staying, and they're like, how are you getting to Garden of the Gods? And we're like in the car, we're thinking, this is a joke, right? You guys, they had made their reservations by mistake at Garden of the Gods 3 hours away from the wedding. So bless their little hearts, they had to drive to, that night, they had to drive. And actually, now that I'm thinking about that, they were supposed to have been there. Was it Thursday night, now that I say that? Because they were supposed to do ATV riding. So it might have been, I don't know, whatever day it was. It was before the wedding, but not too far before the wedding. They had to drive 3 hours to make it. And so they missed, I think it was Friday, because they were supposed to do ATV riding Friday. And he missed it because they were too far away. And they got there and everything. And they just got really confused. They did make it, but it was just like, oops, 3 hours away, you guys, 3 hours. But this is Garden of the Gods, and we did go back. We went, because it's not far from Denver. It's about an hour, I believe. And so we did go there the day before we flew home to see because it is beautiful. Brooke and I had been there before. I don't know that Greg he'd never been there. So we went and checked it out. It was kind of neat. You can go through, and there's different little spots to stop at and stuff like that. So that's the photos. Now, in the meanwhile, I've been putting my pictures inside my envelopes, glued the envelopes down. I used my T-square. Now I'm kind of building all these little pieces here. I did use a little chipboard frame behind that middle photo. She had some little frame looking thing. And then she did have that little border strip going across the bottom of the photo envelope things. And so I had that too. So it's a little bit different of hers, obviously, but it works. I had 2 chipboard words I could use. She'd use like seek or something, but I had discover and wander. I went with wander because I thought the color looked a little better. Either one would have worked, frankly, for this particular story, but I think the color looked a little better because I had the little tag that said this place that was brown, and I didn't really want those 2 colors right next to each other. The 2 things with the same color right next to each other. Now she had like fabric flowers, it looked like more 3D flowers. I just have ephemera flowers. So I put those in the upper left, and then I've got this little like piece of leaves or whatever, and I'm going to put that down there. And then she had a geotag, but I'm going to go ahead and use a hot air balloon. No reason for the hot air balloon, except that's what I have in my ephemera, and I thought it had a similar shape. And so I went with it. And then I did tuck a, let me see here. What else have I got? Oh, the upper left there, I have this little chipboard piece that says take the scenic route. And then in the lower right down there, I'm going to end up with this where to next. And I will put a couple of ephemera flowers down there. And I'll use a little piece that says livery stables or something. It's just a little yellow piece that's going to go underneath that in just a minute. I don't think I've done it yet. I'm still kind of looking through here. Here's where I find that little hot air balloon. And I'm going to stick that in kind of in the little flower things. I'll also pull out like a old-timey camera piece of a laser cut ephemera and a little green stamp. And I'll kind of create a little cluster underneath that little leaf thing there. And I did tuck the leaf kind of around the border strip. I thought that kind of turned pretty. And then I've got this little cluster down at the bottom that has the 2, like I said, 2 flowers, the little yellow deal, and then it says where to next. I'll actually end up getting into my little enamel pieces, but that's the very, very end. Here's where I pull that little camera out. I think this is really cute because we're taking pictures, right? Let me see. What else do I do here? I'm looking around. I think after this, I start gluing stuff down. I kind of thumb through this and look to see, is there anything else I want to use? I thought about this camera. I don't think you use it. Oh, the only thing I do too is I cut, she had like a little almost photo corner looking thing, but it was like a little, corner of probably a frame possibly. I'll actually end up cutting that out of my newspaper print paper in just a moment. It's on the middle photo. And again, you can always reference back to the original layout, but you'll see me do this in just a second. I'm just going to cut it. I'm just going to freehand it, you guys, because I'm looking at that and I'm going, okay, this could be cute. Probably not, maybe not should have done that because it's a nice little photo mat, but I did. I've done it, you guys. It's done. So I'm going to cut this little corner out. I'll tear the ends because it looked to me like she had that, and I'll kind of scuff the edges with my scissors and glue that down there. I think this turned out really cute, though. Really nice and rough and, I don't know, organic, which is, I think, the point. I think after this, I'll glue this down. I do use Nuvo glue there. I will use some foam up under some of these pieces. So I use foam up underneath the hot air balloon. I use foam up under a couple of the edges of the green leaves and the one flower in the bottom right. And then the flower cluster in the upper left, I use some foam. Here is where I'm looking at my little enamel dots or little enamel pieces. I end up pulling out ones with little words on them. One says look in the upper left. The one by the hot air balloon says far away. And I'll end up with one at the bottom that says this place. I have to think on that one for just a minute because I wasn't sure where I wanted to put it. I kind of fass around just a little bit with these little things. And I even thought about using some of the colored ones, but I don't know. I decided against it. I don't really know why. I guess because I didn't really see anything like that on hers. And I'm like, it's okay. I don't need that extra. There's a lot going on already on this layout. So when I start touching everything, you guys, you know I'm about done. So I'm kind of touching everything just to see, fixing things, looking at this set of enamel dots. Then I go, nah, not going to do it. And so that is all I've got going on this layout, you guys. Thanks so much for watching. There you go. You can kind of see it up close. Make sure you check out the playlist. We have a nice little team now. I don't even know if there's 7, 8 people now playing along. Miss Tara has an amazing organizational skill. I'll tell you, that lady, she keeps me on track too. She'll text me, hey, this is ready, that's ready. I'm like, thank God you exist, because I would be so confused about half the time. But anyway, you guys can check out the playlist and see everybody else playing along, and of course the original, and we will talk soon. Bye.